You're listening to the Amplify podcast, where we discuss topics related to being a student at the University of Michigan. For today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the pandemic, but we're going to be focusing a little bit more on how it's actually impacted campus culture here at U of M. My name's Elyas.
And my name's June.
So as of recording, today is the end of the fall semester. So we have one semester under our belt as far as dealing with the pandemic is concerned. So it's kind of nice. At least we get the chance now to take a big breath and finally decompress from all this and just relax during this break and bundle up for the holidays. And now we can do it actually with our brand new Amplify merch, which June.
Yeah, so if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see this lovely Amplify shirt I have on and this beautiful clear glass mug that has our Amplify logo on it as well. And you can receive a goodie bag from us that includes this shirt and that mug for free, free. Just by emailing me and letting me know which podcast episode is your favorite and why. And another way to get this free goodie bag is by attending an Amplify event. One of my favorite ones we've had going so far this year is called Coffee Chats and Morning Stretch, where we just do like a quick group yoga routine and then share some inspirational quotes and motivations, just to start off the day. And if you'd like to attend one of these events, you can keep an eye out for Zoom links for them on the Optimize Instagram page. And then, attend an event or listen to our podcast and you can get one of these free shirts and one of these free mugs. So, all right, that's enough with the shameless self-promotion. We can jump into the episode now.
For audio listeners, trust me, it's good quality merch. And for all of our emails to get in touch with us, we have those in the description of the YouTube videos. And if you're on Spotify or some other audio streaming service, we should have that also in the description of the podcast too. So it's there for you. Jumping back into kind of talking about the pandemic a little bit. Not to beat a dead horse, but it's changed a lot and made things a lot pretty hard. Just kind of getting used to. And I think, at least for me looking back during the summer, I really wouldn't have predicted how much it would affect things. I guess just from like a cultural standpoint here at the university. But now that we've had this full semester under our belt, I'm starting to kind of really see where those cracks have formed. Now, we've already talked a lot about dealing with online classes and the changes to the class structure. And if you want to hear that, you can actually go to our first episode where we go in detail about that. And we discuss some techniques on how to deal with those with that form of classes. But we're going to be talking a little bit more specifically about just kind of more cultural stuff. I think it's pretty safe to say that for a lot of people who come in to whether it's the University of Michigan or any other four-year institution that has a rich campus culture, things like football games, clubs, parties, getting to meet new people on campus, those are real parts of the package to coming to a university. And man, I can't imagine what it'd be like to be a freshman in this situation, because goddamn, that'd suck. I have a friend who is new to actually Eastern. So it's not the University of Michigan, but still, she's having some difficulty kind of getting used to what it's like to be on campus during the pandemic, because it's nothing like I experienced when I first came here to U of M or any of my other friends have experienced, because we didn't come to university when the world was ending. Right. So now I want to be very clear and say that we're not complaining about the fact that we have to do things like social distance or close everything down. We get the importance behind that and the safety that brings. But at the same time, I think it's fair to kind of talk about the actual difficulties that just the situation has created. So, um, with that being said, um, we're going to talk a little bit more specifically about kind of what I've noticed because I'm still here in Ann Arbor, whereas June has left the city. Um,
Yep. Bye. I was like, bye. This past summer. So, what is
yeah,
it like in Ann Arbor for you right now, Elias?
um, it's interesting. Like from what I've noticed, um, there's kind of been like waves to it all. I want to say where like I feel like Ann Arbor during the summer is already a little bit dead, just compared to you know the actual fall and winter
School
semesters,
year and yeah.
because everyone kind of goes back home for the holidays or for the break rather, um, and so that kind of just like exacerbated during the pandemic, at least as far as the summer is concerned. And I remember going out to like the city, hanging around like the Diag, and no one was there.
Not a
Um,
soul.
not a single person. And then slowly people started coming back because I think that was back when we all thought that like we might have in-person classes still. Yeah, how we were so young and naive back then. Um, but with the semester now back in effect, uh, there was definitely for I want to say like the beginning of it of the semester, there's kind of this energy of like, screw it. We're still gonna like do stuff. Like I remember still seeing like going downtown, like I was driving to like the store or something like that, just like passing through like just flocks of people on their way to like parties on like Fridays and Saturdays and stuff. That was back when the city was really hammering home kind of like the outdoor seating for all these restaurants and stuff downtown. And so like I want to say Monday to Thursday, the city would be kind of dead, but then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it'd start to like kind of pick itself back up again. Where like you could go out to like State Street and you just see like a ton of people just like walking around, like going in and out of buildings. Like for the most part, everybody was wearing masks. It was interesting to kind of see a lot of the life kind of come back to the city. It's still kind of worrying because like you'd be going to like Sava's or like the night and there'd be a ton and ton of people because like the entire restaurants are pretty much moved outside onto the street and no one would really be wearing masks. So like there's definitely a little bit of apprehension, at least for me, kind of like going into that like scenario or that setting. But then once won the game, like when the football season started back up, oh my god, game day was horrible. Like you just be driving through the city and there'd be just like tons and tons of people on their way to like different parties, all wearing like spirit gear and stuff. And I feel like that kind of really was the kind of like the big central theme of October and November, where or like early November rather, where you had all these people kind of being like, we did our time during the pandemic, and now we're gonna like go out to the parties again. We're gonna go out and enjoy ourselves again. And go figure, there's a huge uptick in COVID cases here in Ann Arbor now.
Imagine that.
I wonder why. um, but I don't know. Now it might just be the weather. It might be because of finals. I don't really know. But I want to say for most of November, I haven't seen anything. Like I haven't seen that much activity outside anymore. Um, I have been spending a little bit less time downtown, but um, I think it's like a mixture between like it's too cold for people to be eating outside. I mean, we're in the middle of another lockdown, so that could also play into effect.
Well, and the university pretty much sent a lot of students home. So,
Yeah.
in November, like right at the beginning of November, I
Yeah.
think it was end of October, early November, a lot of people went home and were pretty much told don't come back. And not like don't come back until next semester, but like don't come back this academic year.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be a little dead from here on out, really, until the end of the pandemic in Ann Arbor.
One of the things that really kind of shocked me was the election. I remember because I didn't vote absentee. I voted like same day. So I'm registered to vote out in Canton. So I just drove like 15, 20 minutes out there to vote. And I came home like pretty late. And I remember I was like, oh, because I was hearing like news about like a bunch of parades and stuff like that happening, like because like it was pretty clear that Joe was gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, cool. I'm gonna like head down to like the Diag or somewhere around like there, like in the heart of the city, because it's Ann Arbor. Like Ann Arbor, they don't like no one here like misses an opportunity to like hold a demonstration and like have a parade or something. I'm like why not? That could be fun. Just like walking around like and experiencing that. But I remember I got into the city and like it was I want to say like at the like 7, 8, something like that. The sun was already down, and it was like everywhere else, pretty much around the country, there were like demonstrations and stuff like that happening. And I remember I got into the city and no one was there, and that was kind of the first like real shock to me that like, oh, campus life is like really dying back
It's,
down again.
yeah.
And I think you're right, June. I think that a lot of people went home for the holidays and just aren't coming back. Especially, I think people in like the residence halls and stuff like that. At least from what I was hearing. Um, so yeah, I think that with the cold weather rolling in, I think it's gonna go back to kind of like the early days of summer and go back to that kind of ghost town, which is gonna be a little eerie to look at, Yeah.
Right. Back to that beginning of, back in the spring when
Yeah.
it first happened and nobody wanted to leave their house. I was like bleaching my groceries from the
Yeah.
grocery store and
Oh yeah.
um I would like wear my mask and gloves and like wash my hands if I went to like fill my car with gas and things like
Hmm.
that. Not that I'm not still doing precautions, but as you said earlier, um, people are kind of, I think, getting a little stir crazy and bored of the restrictions.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I don't mean that in a good way, but
Yeah.
I think at first we all just took it so seriously. And then as time went on, then it was the summer and, well, if we're hanging out outside, it's fine. And la, la, la. And then, like you said, by the time it was the fall, and people are coming to college, back to college, and want to hang out, want to go to
Hmm.
parties, want to tailgate, want to do this and that, the normal, what would be normal stuff. So I think we've kind of fallen away from the seriousness that we had in the beginning, and I hope that we can maintain it a little bit longer. Vaccines are on the horizon, so we'll
Yeah.
see if we're able to hold out well enough until then. I'm hoping so. And I think with people not being as much heavily populated on campus, that's definitely helped a lot. So,
Yeah. And I think like kind of to that point, one of the things that like has become increasingly clear to me is that um this is normal now, like
yeah, this is the new
living
normal.
yeah, living in the middle of like a global pandemic is just like it's just what it is. Like we've been doing this almost for a year now, and we're going to be doing it for a lot longer than that.
Right.
um and I think that it's coming to this point now where because you get used to it, you kind of let your guard down a little bit. I mean, I
Exactly.
haven't been doing like crazy stuff like going out and like
I
partying
don't
and
bleach my
that sort of
groceries
stuff.
anymore.
Yeah, same. Like I wash my hands and stuff like that. And I do like enough precautions, but I think
Yep.
I think that we're at this point during like all the pandemic where there's a lot more focus on kind of like the mental and social impact, not just the I guess physiological or like biological like impact of all this. Like I've been talking to a lot of my friends about um like thankfully we're still getting like 30 and like some 40-degree days, which
For
are like
now.
yeah, but that's for now. Like I go outside so often, like to just kind of get out of the house and just kind of like go out and do things, right? And like want to meet up with someone, like we can go out to like a park or something like that. It's nice and manageable because you know you can still social distance, you can still be safe about it. But like, what do you do when we get those negative 30-degree days again? Because we're gonna get them. We get them every year. Every year gets worse. So it's like, I mean, we already had 2 pretty decent snow days, you know, like where we had like a pretty decent amount of snow coming down rather. And I remember I went out to go drive to like pick something up from the store or something like that. And my car is it's 4-wheel drive and has pretty good traction control. And I was still slipping around. And I'm like, dude, we're going to get one of these big winter storms just like any second now. And it's going to just totally screw everybody. And we're just going to be stuck inside all day, even
Right.
more so.
More than we already are
Yeah.
stuck inside all day. Yeah, I feel that. And just in general, I feel like, yeah, we've kind of gotten burnt out of all of these things, and now having to deal with the pandemic in the wintertime is going to be like hard mode, right? Because
Yeah.
the pandemic hit in the spring,
Yeah. We
which
had
is
some
generally a
cold
very,
days.
yeah, there's like a happiness in the air during springtime when you
Yeah.
live in a winter a state that experiences real winter. Everyone's like, heck yeah, sun, heck yeah, like there's the flowers are blooming, you know, there's like a
Right.
smell in the air that's just like so invigorating. And meanwhile, the whole world was falling apart, but we still had the spring, and then that of course follows into the summer, which is great. Obviously we didn't get to do the same kinds of things we would normally do. I was going to go to a music festival
Mm-hmm.
and do all this stuff, and everything was canceled.
Right.
um,
Right.
but yeah, so we were able to move through a lot of the pandemic so far with, as you said, having the outdoors as an option, having that as like, okay, well, at least I can still go for walks, at least I can still go to the park, at least I can still maybe eat on a patio with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're coming into the winter, and as you said, it's going to be significantly more difficult when there's going to be days when outside is just not really an option.
Yeah. It's gonna be weeks
And
probably. Like, I mean, judging from last year, like we had like the last few years, we've had good chunks where the entire week either it was snowing or below zero or both. And
right, dangerously cold.
yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think I'm hoping that because the vaccines are about to come out, that that there's like a little bit of hope here of like, okay, we just have to get through the winter, and then in the spring we'll be like starting to come out of the pandemic.
Hopefully.
That's my hope. But of course, we've been thrown a few wrenches in the last few months, so I'm not entirely optimistic at all times,
Yeah.
to be honest. Um, yeah. So actually, I had a bit of a different experience than you, Elias, because I wasn't impacted in the same way because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a non-traditional student. So when I came to Michigan, I really kind of came for school
Mm-hmm.
specifically,
Yeah.
and not really for all of these like college experiences. Um, I'm I'm a little bit older, as I've said in previous episodes. I've had my fair share of parties. I have explored being an adult for about a decade now. I'm going to be 28 next month. So I, as much as I do still enjoy hanging out with people and having fun and doing all of that, that's really not where my mind was when I came to Michigan when I was, yeah, 26 years old. Because for me, a lot of those things and those experiences I've already had, and I've already lived away from my parents for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So moving into a new apartment really isn't that novel for me. So in some ways I wasn't impacted in the same way when campus culture changed, because I really wasn't here for the campus culture. Um, However, I will say that when I was living in Ann Arbor, I used to ride my bike to class, and there's a bit of a thrill, when you're coming into a university and the campus is just like bumping and just like filled with people, and everyone's talking and everyone's going places, um, and there's like a buzz and like a thrill in the
Mm-hmm.
air when you experience that. And I loved going to coffee shops on the weekends and doing homework, and I really loved my work study job. I was working for a nonprofit called Community Action Network, and I worked in the after school program. And I love working with kids. I've worked with kids through a lot of my adulthood thus far, and have studied child development and everything. So just hanging out with these kids in this after school program and doing all this fun stuff. I mean, I would spend hours even just playing basketball with them, and it was just so fun, and I loved my job. And yeah, and so in a lot of ways that became my college experience, and my college like culture was this like just being around everybody and being able to experience working for this nonprofit through my work study and all this stuff. And the thing is, yeah, there was lots of homework and there was still lots of deadlines and everything, but it's almost like there was like an aliveness to the
Yeah.
entire process where, yeah, I had all that stuff to do, but I still had all these other outlets and social things that I was doing, even if it wasn't necessarily about going to parties for me.
Yeah.
Um, and now those homework assignments and the deadlines all still are there, but I can't do homework at coffee shops anymore. And I can't just strike up friendships with people in class. And, I lost my work study job when all the schools closed in the spring, which was financially very, very upsetting for me, but also just emotionally upsetting and socially upsetting because
Mm-hmm.
I loved that job so much. Um, and so there's just this new and very real dullness that I feel like has taken over the college experience. And that probably isn't just here at U of M. It's probably across college campuses around the
Yeah.
world. Um, and just, the fall 2020 semester dragged on forever. It was an eternity. and
Yeah.
and we didn't have a fall break. The university wanted to reduce travel, so they're trying to reduce the amount of breaks. We also won't have a spring break this year, um, for
Right.
example. And so uh, yeah, just by the time we even reached Thanksgiving break this semester, I was utterly burnt out. And I feel like I really kind of crawled through the last couple of weeks. I am so excited. Elyas and I are recording this on like the first official day of winter break.
Yeah.
I'm just like could not be more relieved to have made
Thank
it here.
God.
But again, yeah, we've always had work. Yeah, finals have always been stressful, but there was all of these other very fun and social and exciting things that kind of made that hard work and those challenges really worth it, because it felt like there was a balance there.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just feel like that balance has completely been upended, and it just feels like work, and it just feels like deadlines, and it just feels like stress, and there's not all of these like wonderful, exciting new experiences um, to help make it feel worth it. And that's kind of where I'm at. It doesn't bother me that I can't go to any college parties. I'm fine with that at my age.
Right.
um, but it's more about, yeah, just that loss of that aliveness, and instead it's just being replaced with this very dull um, and just dragging feeling of like, okay, just plugging away. um, and I'm pretty tired, and I'm really really hoping that now that we have had a full semester behind us, and our professors also do too. I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping that we can work out some of the bugs. I'm sure I'm not alone in saying that there
Ups and
was a lot of
downs.
bugs to work out, of like
Yeah.
changing classes that have never been taught online into a virtual setting. I'm hoping that with our experience, and also our professors having now some more experience in doing that the next semester, winter 2021, goes a little more smoothly. And even more so, I'm hoping that with vaccines on the horizon, that maybe by next fall we'll be back to mostly in-person stuff, and people will be safe again, and we can. I don't know if we'll ever go back to the way things were, and maybe that's a good thing, but I do hope that we can bring some of that more exciting campus culture back to the college experience that we're all, very privileged to be a part of. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping that that's what's in store for us.
Yeah, just like kind of to that point, just even I remember in between like classes, like maybe I'd have a class at like 11 that got out at like 12:30 or something like that. My next class is at 2. And so I'm like, well, I'll just stick around Central Campus for a bit, and like you'd always find like something going on, like to like kill some time with. Like you'd like walk into like Mason Hall and there'd be some like activity going on in like the middle of like the floor, and not having that to kind of like break up the monotony of classes is
Right.
kind of draining. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like, you're right. We do have a lot more sort of information under our belt just from like kind of experiencing what like a full semester looks like, and so do our professors. But I don't know. It's another semester of this. I'm not looking forward to it.
No, not even looking
Yeah,
forward to it a little bit. Again, I recognize that we're all very privileged to be able
of
to
course.
attend the university and to be in school. I mean, I'm still very proud in a lot of ways, to be in college. I'm a first gen student, and I don't ever want to I don't want to have this feeling of like this
Yeah.
sucks. I want to instead be like, wow, this is this great experience. But I'd be lying if I said that I felt like this basketball was a great experience. It was rough. And actually, I just want to say to your whole thing about being able to, oh, I have a couple hours in between classes and I'm on
Mm-hmm.
campus and I'm going to go do this and that. I would so often like go get lunch somewhere, or
Yeah.
sometimes I'd pack snacks and just like find a comfortable place to sit and eat my like packed lunch or whatever. But there was this Korean place that, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it. But it was kind of a small little hole in the wall place, but it was right off of campus, like right there. And I would almost always walk past it when I would park, and then I would walk past it on my way to class. And so if I had like an hour or two in between classes, I would go there, and they had this great ramen, and I would just like maybe call a friend and chat with them, and eat my little ramen and dumplings.
Yeah.
And it was just, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like you said, it kind of breaks up the day, and it helps to make it feel like alive. Like I said, there's like an aliveness there, to the entire process.
Feels more
But
organic. Like now it feels very like robotic and monotonous. Like
yeah.
I don't know. Like yeah, for me I had the same thing as with Chella's downtown. Best
Yes.
best tacos in the city, like hands down. Um and yeah, just go there and just chill for a bit. And like maybe a buddy was like around, I'd like tell him to come down, we'd like chat for a bit, and then I'd go back to class or something. And yeah, you're right. It almost gives like a heartbeat to the day. Like it's like these natural things that kind of just break it up and make it feel more like alive and more organic. But now, like if I'm doing a class or homework, I'm in front of my computer. And if I want to like relax or something like that, unless like I just go outside and go for a walk, then what are my options? Like watch YouTube in front of the computer, watch like a movie or something in front of the computer. Like it's just like you're stuck in your box all day. And I know we
Yeah.
talked about that in the first episode a little bit, but just like as far as like socially is concerned, because even like what we're doing right now, like sure we're recording a podcast, but like if you're talking to people, half the time you're doing it over Zoom or some other like app like that, and it's so robotic and monotonous. Yeah,
Yeah. I see. I would love, maybe next fall, like you and I being able to actually have like a room
yeah, like a
at
set.
Optimize. Because
Oh,
because truth be told, the Optimize offices in the LSA building are like, it's a pretty big office, and there's all these little like side rooms and stuff. Like we could
mm-hmm.
easily be like, oh, we're recording our podcast today. And then we just have the conversation in person. We can even
Yeah,
have like the board
exactly.
in the back. Okay, we don't need to go
The
into all those
housekeeping.
details. Yeah,
But yeah,
the
exactly
point
though.
is, the entire experience could be different. But here
Yeah.
we are recording this over Zoom. You and I have never even met in person
Yeah.
ever.
It's weird
All
to
of our
think about.
experiences have been online, and in a lot of ways, I think Optimize has handled it well in
Hmm.
in being able to still maintain the org culture and try to keep events going and try to still incorporate everything, but it is different, and I'm looking forward to the day when we can walk back onto campus comfortably and safely and know that we can get that Korean lunch or tacos at
Yeah.
Chella's and go into the optimized office and like eat all the snacks that are there.
Yeah.
You know, instead of being like scattered across the country, like we are right now.
Yeah, God.
um, so yeah, well, I guess I do have many hopes for the future. I hope to move back to Ann Arbor this summer
Okay,
and
sweet.
be able to go back to in person. I'm hoping to be
Hopefully.
graduating this time next year, so that
Yeah.
might be my last semester. But even just one more semester of that experience, I would welcome. So here's to hoping.
Yeah, and like I agree with you said earlier, we're probably not gonna go back to like exact like what 2019, you know? But I still think that I'm optimistic at least that like we'll be able to have something resembling it a little bit. But yeah, I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching or listening wherever you're tuning in from. Go easy on yourself. Enjoy the time off, and hopefully we can all be a little bit more recharged by the time we head into winter 2021.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, good luck. Good luck with everything. I'm wishing us all the best for um, the winter and spring semester, and for hopefully another new normal that it looks a little better than what we have right now. So
Fingers crossed.
the Amplify podcast is supported by Optimize, an organization here at U of M that empowers students to be creative in how we serve each other and our communities near and far. To learn more about Optimize programming, please visit optimizemi.org. If you have topics you would like to hear discussed, let us know at optimizemi@umich.edu. Thanks, and be well.